So this is one of the ways that I go about doing character design. This is all pretty early stage stuff. I go from thumbnails, as you can see, and then I go into fleshing out the design a little bit further, starting off with a pretty loose sketch overall. Just trying to block in the major forms. I'm staying close to the gesture of the thumbnail that I chose, the one with the owl. I'll usually do this on a separate layer from the background and have a layer for the rough pass and then like a bit of a cleaner one, which is still pretty rough because I'm still drawing this pretty small because I want to stay pretty close to the original thumbnail. I'm not really trying to get it really clean or very accurate. I'm just kind of placing some landmarks for blocking in values. So I'm going through this stage relatively quickly. One of my favorite ways for blocking in value or color is to basically just like draw outlines for the either separate objects or the forms of the shadow or basically anything where I want to put one consistent value. So I use line and painting as well, just to like quickly draw the shape of the form and then fill. You can see I put a bit of color in there initially, but then I realized I messed up my layers, so I'm just making it a value sketch, and then I'll take it to color later. But yeah, just basically trying to block in the three values, gray, white, and black. That's usually how I try to think about everything in the design, is just those three simple values, at least to start, and I can always go in and subdivide them later. But that's why I do the thumbnails. I want to make sure the three values read, and then basically just play with the overlaps to make something that I kind of find interesting in terms of character. And then the same thing goes even with once I like block out the bigger forms and I start putting in like shadow, everything gets divided into two values. So like every main hierarchy, so the gray gets a shadow value, the black gets a shadow value, the white gets a shadow value. For some things, you can see like in the face, I took it slightly further, but for most stuff I'll usually keep it to two to start, and then just make sure everything's working in terms of lighting. This part here, I'm subdividing the value further. You can see like I put in a slight value shift. This is all in flats though, so like the values that I choose won't gradate. So I have to kind of place them where I want, otherwise they look funny. So yeah, just basically like went in like a slightly darker value and popped it in a little to some of the parts that would have forms coming together, just because I want to make some of those things read better, like the front of the owl's body where it curves in to the leg. Kind of like that shape going on there. You don't need to always put like really strong indications of occlusion value. So I'm just basically using like all those kind of ideas and trying to play with the shapes to make the forms read. Another thing that tends to happen a lot with this process is I'll kind of start changing up the design slightly sometimes as I go along. So sometimes I'll add like little accessories or things, or just like change up certain values slightly or different things if I want to add more visual interest in different areas. So you can see like overall some of the shapes have changed a bit from the thumbnail, because I found that there was a certain way that I liked it better, but it might, like, I think it kind of changes for everyone. Like it's a bit subjective at that point where you're just kind of like, oh, I like that shape and that form and I want to put it there, obviously as long as it kind of like reads well in the simple value and in perspective. I think it's you can pretty much do whatever you want. Like I decided I want to add like a little lamp around the owl's neck and attach it to the rope thing that the old lady's holding. So just like playing around with that and with two values just to try to make it read. Because this is all like still pretty rough stage stuff. I don't go into render with this, and usually that's kind of just how I like to keep things if I can, because then the design just kind of reads and then I don't have to then from there I can do like turnarounds or expressions or breakdowns of props and stuff. You can also see within some of the forms, like on the grandma's shirt on her left arm, I like to like cheat in a little bounce light wherever I can just to make the forms read a little better. And it's usually like really subtle value transition, because I'm painting in flats. I don't want to always have to like add too much value variation in terms of edges. So I'll just get a close value, or I'll use like a bit of line that tapers off to kind of make a form transition. But usually you can just do it with just like a slight value shift, whether it's in like planes catching light or planes that are in shadow, using like a slight value shift to indicate bounce light, or like if it's like a highlight or a perpendicular plane facing the light, then you can kind of just like indicate it with just like a slight shift, and usually it works out okay. I had forgotten to add in the glasses, so just playing around with their placement. Kind of like them when they're kind of close together.